Rebirth is not easy, reconstruct is not easy, but when we do the wrong thing, we only want a second chance that allows us to amend our mistakes. In 2020, high levels of air pollution generated toxins derived from CO2 unsustainable for health and lungs. Cities became uninhabitable and 90% of the world's population succumbed to lung failure and other serious respiratory ailments. The survivors were forced to migrate to the least polluted areas of the world, mountains, some scant field or forest, confining ourselves in domes that isolated us from the impure air and leaving behind all previously known ways of living. The scientific projections were overwhelming. We could not live for at least 30 years, and without a doubt we would not go out to resume the way of life that led us to such destruction. It was not even an option, and by consensus we decided as survivors never to repeat this pattern. We evaluated the great mistakes that we made as humanity and began restructuring from the root of the way we conceived society and its functioning. During these years, we drew up a plan to try to fix the disaster we caused and devised to prevent human extinction. At the social level, we had to eliminate injustice and privilege. We removed the monetary resource and the work status. Any task would be in favor of contributing to the common welfare, and neither would be more valuable than the other. We would all have equal access to opportunities for housing, food, services, and transportation. Also, community would be divided into committees that would manage 5 fundamental areas of work: distribution and management of resources such as basic, natural, social, urban, and recovery and management of cultural resources. Each individual would work in a committee according to their abilities and knowledge, without government or politicians. The areas would have a representative, and there will be a leader at a general level, responsible for guiding society in its structuring and in discussing the decisions made at work with representatives, but no one will have privilege over the population. Our work is guided by the concept of sustainability, and we thought of an urban development plan at a micro and a macro level, whose basis would be the Sustainable Development Goals promulgated decades ago by the United Nations. We would seek to make cities and communities sustainable with sustainable production and consumption that would not affect ecosystems again. Power generation plants would be adapted to obtain the resource in a sustainable way. Manufacturing methods would be circular to take advantage of the waste generated. The supply system would be applied with respect, which only uses 60% of the resources extracted from nature and returns 40% for regeneration, among other measures. The existing buildings, homes, shops, public and work spaces would enter into a restructuring and restoration plan to turn them into sustainable constructions, and would be assigned a new function according to the context and social needs of this emerging community, including cultural and artistic recreation. If new constructions are needed, we would return to vernacular architecture and develop a new urban organization that would focus on occupying less land and taking advantage of the space vertically. Nowadays, we are outside. We are rebuilding our society and the way it worked. We are seeking to recover what was also part of us, culture, and above all, physical and cultural values. Later on, we will reopen museums and teach again everything that we learned as children as young people. The great beauties that man achieved in art, science, philosophy, and all branches throughout the story. However, we will do so under a different conception, one that allows us to create a just, equitable, and lasting society that respects not only the rights of its current members, but also of future generations. We can design a way of living in which we coexist in harmony with the natural environment, and above all, we must not allow human ambitions to endanger their existence and the world again. There are no third chances.